What's the difference between posts and pages on a WordPress site? Okay, this is a really, really important concept to understand when you're working with WordPress sites. I'm going to start, but I'm going to go to the front end of this site here so I can demonstrate a few things. WordPress allows you to publish two basic types of content on your site. I mean, yeah, you're going to put lots of other things on here too, but by default, you get two basic types of content. You get what's called posts, and that's things like this, like little messages to the world, like "Hello world," you know. There we go. This is a post right here, and it says, "Welcome to WordPress. This is your first post." Okay. So posts are like, you know, blog posts, news items, that sort of thing. And WordPress also allows you to publish what's called pages. So I'm going to click on this sample page right here to show you what a page here is. And in fact, the nice thing is that the default sample pages and sample posts actually do a pretty decent job of explaining what it is. But here we go. Just this is a sample page. So it says here's an example page. It's different from a blog post. It stays in one place. It shows up in your site navigation, etc. What it really boils down to is that posts are usually used for time-based material. And pages are organized as static elements, okay? These are used for static content and they're usually presented as individual elements. Okay, let's take a step back and make sure that we understand this, okay? WordPress actually started off as a blogging engine, okay? Matt Mullenweg designed this software as a blogging engine. It was primarily based, the primary use for it was to allow people to post blog posts. Over time, it evolved into a really great, robust content management system, which allows us to build, you know, fully featured websites, and that's awesome. But at its core is this idea of the post. Okay, originally it was blog posts, but now you can use posts for any sort of time-based material. What do I mean by time-based material? I'm talking about information that's, you know, relevant right at a certain point in time. Okay, so maybe let's pretend that we're building, say, a band website. Okay, maybe you've got some news that you want to share with your fans, and it's relevant right now. Maybe you've hired a new guitarist. Okay, it's relevant right now, and so you would post this as some sort of a blog post or a news item or a press release or something, and it's relevant right now. 2 years from now, it's not going to be that relevant to your fans. It's not going to be the most important news you want to get out to your fans. Okay, and so it'll still be accessible on your website, but it's not going to be the very first thing you see when you go to your website. Okay. Um, Posts are generally they are listed on they are published to your front page in reverse chronological order. I'm going to show you how you can change that if you want to, but generally speaking, that's how they're published. Pages, on the other hand, are used to present static content. Now, what do I mean by static content? Static content would be things like, again, going back to our band website idea, maybe you have something like a band biography. Okay, that's information that it doesn't really exist in just one. It's not specifically time relevant. It's just general information about the band. Okay, now, what's important to remember when I say static content, I don't mean content that doesn't change. I'm talking about content that should just really stay in one place on your site. Now, navigationally, we can build this navigation, we can change it, we could, you know, right now we've got a link here. Let's go to our sample page again. Here's an example of static content. It's currently linked from this up here, but it could just as easily be linked, you know, maybe a footer, you know, maybe there's a footer at the base here, and like a privacy policy would be an example of static content. The content itself, let's say this was a biography page, maybe you want to update your biography page, say, you know, you've got a new band member, so you could update the information, but the page itself stays published in the same place, okay? Whereas your posts, you generally speaking, you wouldn't go back and edit that. You would just post new updates, all right? Best way to really understand this, and it is really, really important to understand this because this is, everything sort of depends on this, is I'm going to give you a couple examples and I want you to think about whether you think this should be published as, you know, a page or as a post in WordPress. Okay, so let's start with something really simple. We're building a band web page. What if we wanted to have an About Us page? Would that be a page or a post? Yeah, that would probably be a page, right? Because that's static content. Now, we might want to from time to time edit that content, but that it's not a news item per se. That's just a generic kind of like reference material that we want to have available to site visitors. All right, how about something like a press release? Do you think that that would be a page or a post? Yeah, that would probably be a post, okay, because a press release is usually time sensitive. Although you might have a page that maybe lists all of your press releases, but there's actually better ways of doing that. Typically speaking, you would publish a press release as a post, and that would always ensure that your latest press releases are always brought up to the front. They're always presented in reverse chronological order, so your most recent and most relevant press release would show up at the top of any list, and that's the way you want it to be. Okay, how about something like, well, I mentioned this one before, but let's see if you're paying attention. What if you wanted to have just a privacy policy? Let's say your lawyer said you need a privacy policy for your band website. What would that be? Would that be a page or a post? Yeah, that would be a page. I did mention that that's considered static content. You might from time to time update the contents of your privacy policy, but that's really just going to be some reference material for people. How about something like a tour diary entry? Let's say your band's on tour and you want to post an update about your awesome concert in Winnipeg last night. What would you publish that as? Yeah, you would publish that as a post because that is time sensitive, okay? The information stays on your site. It's just that as time goes on, it's probably not going to be listed on the front page. It'll just get archived somewhere and then, it can show up in a search or something, but it's really considered time sensitive chronological material. Okay, let's keep going. I got a couple more for you. How about contact information? Say, email us here. What would you publish that information as? Would you publish that content as a page or as a post? Yeah, you should publish that as a page, okay? You don't want to publish that as a post. This is really reference material, so we want to get that as a page, okay? How about your biography, your band's biography? I mentioned that one before. Were you paying attention? Yeah, it should be a page. A biography page would be something static information. You might change the content from time to time, but that's generally speaking. Most band websites I go to would have the bio as one of the tabs. Okay. How about this? How about a concert listing? How about a concert notice or a concert listing? Yeah, I would probably do that as a post because I would want to organize the content so that every concert listing had its own post, right? Maybe a concert announcement or something. Because that's, again, it's chronological. It's not going to be as relevant after after the concert date passes. You don't want that. It's not prime news anymore, okay? You want to maybe have an archive that happened, but it's not static material, okay? Finally, one last one, and then we'll call it a day. How about a sitemap for your entire website? You've probably seen these before, right? You go to websites and there's a sitemap where you can click on any single page or post on your website. Yeah, the sitemap that's static content, okay? Even though the contents itself may change from time to time, that is a piece of static reference material content, and so I would publish that as a page. Okay, and just so you know, okay, to create posts and pages, if when you're logged into the dashboard here, or the back end of WordPress, posts are right here, pages right here. In the upcoming screencast, I'm going to show you how you can create posts and pages and add all that cool content to your website. So stick around, all right? In the meantime, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.